In the ancient city of Nineveh, Iraq, archaeologists dig beneath the scorching desert sun. Among them is Father Lancaster Merrin, an elderly Catholic priest and archaeologist. He has dedicated his life to God and to the mysteries buried beneath the earth. But something is wrong. As Merrin uncovers a small stone amulet, the face of a demon carved into it, the air changes. The workers grow uneasy. Dogs begin to fight in the distance, snarling and snapping with a savage fury. And Merrin stares at the amulet as if recognizing something ancient, something evil, something he has faced before. Act 1, the beginning of darkness. We travel now to Georgetown, Washington, D.C. Here lives a woman named Chris McNeil, a famous actress, warm, funny, and fiercely devoted to her 11-year-old daughter, Regan. Life seems good. Chris is filming a movie nearby. Regan is bright and full of life, and their home is a comfortable townhouse on a quiet street. But something is already off. Regan tells her mother she has a new imaginary friend. She calls him Captain Howdy. She talks to him through a Ouija board she found in the house. Chris laughs it off. Children have imaginations. It's harmless, or so she believes. Strange noises begin in the attic, scratching sounds, movements in the walls. Chris calls pest control. They find nothing. Then one night, during a party Chris is hosting, Regan walks downstairs in her nightgown, pale, distant, and approaches one of the guests, an astronaut. She looks at him with blank, hollow eyes and says, "You're going to die up there." Everyone laughs nervously. Chris rushes Regan back to bed. But the laughter doesn't last long. Act 2. Something takes hold. Regan begins to change. Her personality shifts. She becomes aggressive, vulgar, violent. She screams in the night. Her bed shakes violently on its own. Her voice deepens to something inhuman. She says things no 11-year-old child should know. She hurts herself. She hurts others. Chris, desperate and terrified, takes Regan to doctor after doctor. They run every test imaginable: brain scans, psychiatric evaluations, neurological exams. The doctors are baffled. Some suggest a lesion in the temporal lobe, causing hallucinations and behavioral changes. Others suggest psychiatric illness. But deep down, Chris knows. This is not a medical condition, because no medical condition makes a child's head rotate nearly all the way around. No medical condition makes a child levitate above the bed. No medical condition carves words into a child's stomach from the inside. The words read, "Help me." One night, a detective named Lieutenant Kinderman is investigating the brutal murder of Burke Dennings, a film director and friend of Chris, who was found dead at the bottom of the stone steps outside the McNeil home. His head had been twisted completely backwards on his neck. The police suspect foul play. But there are no suspects, only questions. Chris, now barely sleeping, barely eating, watches her daughter deteriorate before her eyes. The doctors have no answers. The medicine isn't working. The restraints she uses to keep Regan in her bed snap and break, and one night, in absolute desperation, Chris does something a modern, rational woman never imagined she would do. She goes to a priest, Act 3, the priest with his own demons, Father. Damien Karras is a Jesuit priest and a psychiatrist, a man of faith who is quietly losing his faith. His elderly mother has just died alone in a state institution, and the guilt is consuming him. He questions whether God is real, whether prayer means anything. Whether he has wasted his life in service to something that doesn't exist. He is a broken man wearing a Roman collar. When Chris McNeil comes to him and begs him to perform an exorcism on her daughter, Karras resists. He is a man of science as much as faith. He visits Regan with skepticism, but then he witnesses it for himself. The room is ice cold even in summer. The walls bleed. Regan speaks in multiple voices, including the voice of Karras's dead mother, crying out to him, manipulating him. She speaks in Latin, in ancient Aramaic, in tongues no child could know. She tells him things about himself that no one could know, and Karras begins to believe. He files a report to the church. After much deliberation, the church authorizes a formal exorcism, and they send the one man equipped to perform it, Father Lancaster Merrin, the old man from the desert, the man who found the amulet, the man who has done this before. St. The Exorcism. Merrin arrives at the McNeil home in the dead of night, carrying a small bag, wearing his black coat and hat. He pauses at the bottom of the stone steps, looks up at the glowing window of REGAN's room. Light pours out from it, like something alive. He has faced this demon before. He knows its name, Pazuzu, an ancient Assyrian demon of wind and destruction, a creature that existed long before Christ, long before Rome, long before civilization itself. Merrin and Karis climb the stairs together and enter REGAN's room. What they find is beyond description. The girl on the bed is barely recognizable as human. Her skin is gray and decaying. Her eyes are yellow and sunken. Her body twists and contorts in ways the human form was never designed to move. The temperature in the room is below freezing, despite no explanation. Objects fly through the air. Green vomit shoots from her mouth like a weapon, and the demon speaks. In a deep, guttural, layered voice that seems to come from everywhere at once. It mocks them. It taunts them. It uses their deepest fears and grief against them. It knows everything. It screams blasphemies. It tries to break them, not just physically, but spiritually, psychologically. It wants them to despair, to give up, to abandon the child. But Merrin and Karis press forward. The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. Over and over they pray. Over and over the demon fights back. The room shakes. The walls crack. The crucifix above the bed rattles. Hours pass. Then Merrin steps outside the room to rest, leaving Karis for a moment. When Karis goes to check on the old priest, Merrin is dead. Heart failure. The demon has won a round. Karis, overwhelmed by grief and rage, storms back into the room and grabs REGAN by the throat and screams at the demon, "Take me! Come into me! Leave her!" And it does. The demon releases REGAN and pours itself into Karis. For a moment, just a moment, Karis's eyes go yellow. His body goes rigid. His face contorts. But then, with what remains of his will, the last shred of faith in his broken soul, Karis throws himself through the bedroom window. He falls down the long stone steps, the same steps where Burke, Dennings died, tumbling and crashing until he lands at the bottom, broken and still. Father Dyer, a priest and friend, rushes to him. Karis is barely alive. He looks up, and for just a moment his eyes are his own again. Human, at peace, Father Dyer administers last rites, and Father Damien Karis dies, ending the aftermath. Upstairs, REGAN McNeil opens her eyes. She is herself again. The grey skin is gone. The yellow eyes are gone. The cold is gone. She is just a little girl, confused, exhausted, with no memory of what she has done or what was done to her. Chris holds her daughter and weeps. They leave Georgetown. They leave the house on the hill. They try to leave it all behind. But as they drive away, REGAN looks back at the house, at those stone steps, and something flickers across her face. Just for a moment. A shadow of recognition. And then it's gone. Outro. Closing narration. The Exorcist is not just a story about a demon. It's a story about faith, and what happens when faith is tested beyond human endurance. It's about a mother's love so fierce it drove her to believe the impossible. And it's about a priest who found God again, not in prayer, not in scripture, but in the moment he chose to sacrifice himself to save a child he barely knew. Some doors, once opened, can never fully be closed, and somewhere beneath the deserts of the ancient world, the amulet stays put still.